Get settled in. Let's chit-chat a little bit about the state of things. The state of things. People, change worries people. It's been on my mind a lot lately, too. I think everybody, the world of college football or who has a passion for it, who cares about the sport or cares specifically about Florida State's place in the sport, or both, you're on edge. You're on edge. And the reason that you're on edge is because nobody likes to be in limbo. Nobody likes that uncertainty in their life. We like things to be packaged neatly. We want to know what we're doing next and how we're going to go about the process. And what do I need to do? What steps do I need to take to ensure that things go smoothly in my life? People like schedules. Willy-nilly every day, it's a little uncertain. You want to know, hey, this is what it's going to be. This is what it is. And this is how it looks. And this is why it matters. And this is, we tend to like those things. And so sometimes I take a step back and I think, well, like with most things that in which change, it comes sudden, you have a knee-jerk reaction to it. You kind of have a sense of feeling a little bit out of place. I don't know. What does that mean for us? What does that mean for me? What does that mean for you and the people that I care about and like-minded folk that care about this thing together? What are we going to do? Is this in our best interest? And I know that panic can set in when that uncertainty is drawn out. And so I think that's where a lot of us, I was looking on the boards and I was looking at my email inbox and I was looking on my Twitter and I see the responses in the chat. Hello, guys in the chat, gals too. Good to be with you. Thanks for joining us. I'm like everybody else. We all kind of, a lot of people are throwing things against the wall to see if they stick. A lot of people, I got a guy who's a friend with another guy who works in the ACC's home office, and he tells me, oh, yeah, well, I got a buddy who works at ESPN, and if you think they're just going to let that asset, yeah, and then, whatever comes next, right? So we get into, and there are shreds of, elements of, portions of those conversations, comments, that are, in fact, usually steeped in some amount of truth. The guy probably does have a guy who works in the home office who does think this, and that guy may not know a damn thing. Or maybe he does. And we're all looking for the person that does. We all want the goods. Who's the guy? Who do I need to know? And, ultimately, I think it's easier, obviously. Like, I don't care about being first on this one. I just care that when the music stops, we've got a seat. And I think we will. And so if you take a step back and you think about it from that standpoint of, I think we've got a seat at the table, then you don't really worry minute to minute, hour to hour, day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year, until you think it becomes an untenable set of circumstances. So what people see now is this idea that if we don't, in the very near future, find a way to compete financially with these two massive entities, the Big Ten and the SEC, then we fall into a hole that we may not be able to climb out of. That's the sense for the immediate doom and gloom posturing that you see now from those that currently aren't amongst those two powerhouses. I think it's funny because I've read no fewer than what? I don't know, 40 stories in the last 72 hours. I mean, basically since USC and UCLA signed on to play football in 2024 for the Big Ten, we've all kind of wondered what's the next shoe to drop. Who's the next team? What conference moves are made? What does the ACC do to fight for its life? What does the Pac-12 do to fight for its life? Does the Big 12 come into play here? And, ultimately, I think all eyes just need to be fixed on Notre Dame right now. I think what Notre Dame does is going to dictate a lot of what happens afterwards, because Notre Dame, as it stands right now, as I understand it, And I went back and looked this up because I had a vague remembrance of this. Do you recall when we gave them, we as in the sorry-ass ACC, gave Notre Dame a comfortable landing spot and said, well, it's a troubling time. You need a place to play. And come on in. We'll have you. It's good for us, and it's good for you. But do us a favor, just so you're not just screwing us like you do everybody else. Why don't you agree that if we let you do this, you're not going to up and join another conference next year or the year after, or the year after that or the year after that. You're not just going to willy-nilly decide, thanks, ACC, that was fun. I'll call you. Don't call me. Asses and elbows out the door. We feel used. Fetal position in the shower. No. They said, we're not doing that. You've got to guarantee us that you're not going to do that. And they did. They did that. They did. So it's my understanding they really can't just sign on anywhere else. But guess what we feel? We feel like that promise, that agreement, isn't worth the paper it's printed on. Because you're looking around college football right now, and you've seen the aggressive nature that conferences, conference commissioners, presidents, athletic directors have acted. And when they look at the long-term gains and the short-term minuses, perhaps even a financial burden short-term, they're willing to wear it. They're willing to do it. They're willing to find the caveat, the clause, the thing that allows that escape to set them up long-term where they need to be. And so nobody trusts anything. And guess what? Guess the root of that? Well, there's no NCAA of any consequences. Nobody enforcing any rules. There are no rules here, man. It's the Wild West, and that is the sense of unease. And I don't know that we were ever going to be able to find a sensible way to avoid all of this. And for those traditionalists who would like to see something other than this chaos, I don't know that we could have ever arrived there, because I don't think that you would have been able to agree upon. I mean, we can't agree on anything in this country anyhow. We're a mess right now. Football's no different. Microcosm of the overall disagreements and the lack of trust amongst each other. So who was going to say, yeah, I think you're right. That's the czar of college football. That's him. He's the guy that's going to make the decision at the behest of all that is good for college football. We're going to say that this guy or this woman is perfectly suited to make these decisions. Hey, listen, nobody's completely objective. We're all from somewhere. We all went to school somewhere. I played this little game before where I thought, well, who would that person be? Well, you're never going to get a total agreement on that because, again, so let's just say it's Jeff Cameron, which is a very sensible thing to think. All right, it's Jeff Cameron. Jeff Cameron's going to rule the day. And I know Jeff is biased towards Florida State, and Jeff is largely from the South. And even though he grew up in Tampa St. Pete, he's not really Southern, because people in Tampa St. Pete aren't really Southern, but they're in the Southern region, the Southeast. So he's probably got a bias towards Southern teams. That is to say, he likes football that's played in the South more than he does, say, the Pac-12. So he's never going to really have the Pac-12's best interest in mind. If push comes to shove, he's going to side with the SEC and the ACC and any team in the South, quite frankly. But even if you thought, no, that's not necessarily true. Look, man, the guy loves the sport. So, I think he'll do a good job. Well, a guy who is objectively in love with college football, who cares about the diversity of college football. And one of the great things about college football forever growing up were the different styles played all over the country. Like, you knew if you were watching a Big Ten game, it was very different from watching a team between a battle between two Southern teams, whether it be from the SEC or the old Metro, whatever it might be, right? You knew that was different than what you saw in the Big 8 Southwest Conference. You knew that was different from the old Pac-10. You knew that was different. And it was cool because you just realized, like, hey, they play that way largely because of the environment. It's cold as hell in Michigan. They're not going to spread it out 5 wide and chuck it all over the field. They're going to have to run the ball. Meanwhile, in the South, it's hot as Hades year round. They're always chucking the ball, whatever it might be, right? We knew all that. The point would be this, that nobody was ever going to agree on any one person because we're all from somewhere with some bias or a perceived bias. Because if you actually had that person that could have become the college football czar, could have been that guy or that woman, right off the bat would have said, well, you know what's not good for college football? Texas and Oklahoma leaving the Big 12 and going to the SEC. That ain't going to be good for college football. It's certainly not good for the Big 12. It spells the end for the Big 12. It bolsters the SEC, but if I'm thinking about the totality of college football and what would be good, I'm going to keep this from becoming two mega conferences, and I'm going to keep the differences that make us unique and less sterile than the NFL and collegial, the thing that is collegial, right? And those traditions and those histories, those joined histories. Washington should play Washington State. Oregon should play Oregon State. Oklahoma and Texas should play one another for the right to win that conference. It ought, and I know that changes have occurred for a very long time, but you would have had somebody step in and said, I don't think this is good for the game overall. But that didn't happen. And like most things that are driven by money, ultimately, they're ruined.
Do you think it would have mattered had somebody stepped in? Because we've seen this happen, not in the exact same way, but David Stern once rejected a trade for Chris Paul to go to the Lakers to try to stop super teams. And then it still happened anyway.
Yeah. Do
you think if someone had stepped in the same way that Stern did from a higher position, it would have stopped what seems like the inevitable from happening?
Well, look, at some point, the SEC, and really you can go back before that, but primarily the SEC lately, just called the NCAA's bluff. I mean, they don't have the authority to step in. There isn't, the NCAA are the universities, and nobody said you can't. And once you saw that they were powerless to stop moves of that magnitude, Katie barred the door, man. This was then, in that moment, a free-for-all. You knew then this was about the television networks, ESPN, Fox, and others. Those contracts, that almighty dollar was going to be chased to that end, and you were going to try to put together the most desirable package. We've gone from markets being key to brands mattering as much, if not more. And that partly has to do, in my opinion, with the reduction of the importance of cable. Cable's about dead. I mean, let's be honest. I don't even have it in my house. I used to have a deal with Xfinity. I can say anything I want about Xfinity. Screw you, Xfinity. I don't have a deal with them anymore. I got rid of them. They're gone. And if you look at the trends across the country, that's happening everywhere as they become more reliable, meaning internet speeds. Everything's a la carte. I don't need to pay this much for this package because somebody wants the cooking channel and I don't. I don't have to do that. I could just say, I've got a gig at my house. The internet never slows down. I never have to watch The Circle of Death. I can watch any game I want to watch or anything I want to watch, and it's all a la carte. I could just, so it becomes about the amount of people watching your product. And who's watching what? Well, the most desirable competitive thing, right? Well, if you just bolster the desirability of what you're presenting to get the best television contract. Listen, if you give me 20 teams and those 20 teams are Ohio State, Michigan, Southern Cal, UCLA, Nebraska, you name, like all of a sudden North Carolina, Florida State, Clemson, Miami. Man, listen, I can't wait to watch that thing. Everybody's going to want that thing. How do I get it? Oh, it's only on Amazon. Oh, it's only on ESPN. I got it. I'm paying for that. So then the markets didn't become as big a deal. So it's fascinating that there's much more nuance to this. I'm aware of that. I'm not getting into all of the minutia because it's a big picture conversation. But I do think, and I want to circle back to kind of the start here. You can be a person that recognizes that it was a screwed up system going back 100 years. 50 years, wherever you want to go back to. And you can say there were always blue bloods, and you can say that the kids were the ones who got the shaft. When the money became so great and coaches began getting $2 million, $5 million, $7 million, $10 million a year, as we joke about all the time, water slides and chocolate fountains in your football facilities so you can hide the money and not show a profit. When that started to happen, you're like, but you can't pay the kids? What are we doing here? All right, you could agree that something needed to change. But I use the analogy all the time that what's hard to accept is that you went from going the speed limit at 70 to now we're going 180 and everything feels out of control. And the loss of those traditions and the loss of the regionality and the loss of these conferences and the characters of the college game only serve to make it more sterile. What are we really moving towards? Well, what we're moving towards is basically professional football. Well, professional football already exists. And I always loved the separation of the two. I love the NFL, love it. It is different for me than when I watch college football. I always looked at those two things as very separate entities. It's the same game, but the sense you get, the feeling you get, the traditions that you embrace of college football, very different than the sterile atmosphere of the NFL. NFL, we know exactly what we're doing here. We're all paid mercenaries. This game ain't good for my body. I'm going to get my $10 million while I can because I'm not going to be able to walk when I'm 50. You know it and I know it. No, by the way, you better perform because of that contract, because we're paying you, we're out front with this deal, and because it is about the wins. That's all it is. It's not about any tradition in the NFL. You represent a city, you're paid handsomely, go out, perform. I boo your ass when you don't. College football is different. When you watch that kicker from Rutgers, who's a sophomore and whose dad went to Rutgers, and he has the weight of the alumni base on his shoulders to kick a field goal against mighty Michigan with 30 seconds to play and the improbable upset is on his toe. That is a very different feeling than when you watch an engineered drive by Tom Brady in the NFL, and the way that you view and consume those games are separate. Very different. And you don't feel the same connectedness. I don't think. College football fans always felt connected. And the fear now is that you're losing that connection, that tradition. The day you held your father's hand and walked through that tunnel into that stadium to see grass so green it hurt your eyes, that was a different experience that now is moving more and more towards the very sterile NFL. We already have an NFC and AFC. Is that what we're about to do to college football? I could have wanted and did want massive change to the system. I wanted to see these kids get a piece of the pie. Needed to. We all did. We all agreed on that. Coaches got to a point where they're like, yeah, it's kind of absurd. We got to start paying these guys. I'm making $12 million a year. Good Christ. All right. You could have done it, but it seems like we went from 0 to 170 overnight with nobody steering the entirety of this thing that we love towards what's good for it long term. Not everything is about the free market, right? Baseball's a trust. I bring this up all the time. It's not just like, oh, the market will dictate. Listen, man, no. There's a reason that they share, because the Yankees can't play the Yankees every night. They have to be able to play Kansas City and Cleveland and Minnesota and Tampa Bay and Anaheim, right? So you can have a league. I almost cursed. So you can have a league. So not everything is just like, oh, well, let the market. No, man. What's good for the sport? What's good? How can we arrive at this place? The sense of being in limbo and waiting for the other shoe to drop and massive amounts of nightly speculation is what has us all on edge in July of 2022 about the sport that we love. Now, I know what happens. We revert back into this, what's going to happen to my team? And I'm with you, because at the end of the day, you do have to navigate these waters. You don't have to like that you're out there. You don't have to like that this is where we find ourselves. But you do have to figure a way out the other side where you survive and have a place at the table. And so you can lament, and we all do lament, the state of college football and the problems that we all see and saw on the horizon years ago that they did not bother to take seriously, despite being warned. The courts warned the NCAA years ago. Your system's untenable. You lose. You better do something different. Anyhow, they didn't. So we can lament that all we want, but now here we are. All those traditions, all those things that made college football unique, a lot of them anyhow, are certainly gone. Now, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Well, I mean, at some point, that's where it does come back to, where are you from? Who do you like? What city you live in? What school did you go to? What do you root for? What do you care about? Well, in this case, central theme, Jeff Cameron show on a daily basis, is indeed Florida State football. And that is the omnipresent question. What's going to happen to Florida State football? Well, it starts with this year. It starts with how good is Florida State going to be this year? It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Let's say you're considering buying a new home in the current climate. You've all heard the demand is high, inventory is low. How do you get a leg up on the rest of the buyers all making offers on the same house as you? Well, that's a toughie. But the first place I'd suggest you start is with a call to my friends Shannon and the legendary team at Hamilton Home Loan. These guys will set you up with complete pre-approval underwriting. This used to be an upgrade, but nowadays it's got to be standard. If you want to get your offer on a new home pushed to the front of the line, you need a TBD full underwriting approval from the legendary team at Hamilton Home Loans. You'll shorten or even remove your financing contingency, and the sellers will know that your offer is very real and ready to go. It's tough out there, folks, so why not have the advantage of a proven winning team in your huddle? Get pre-approval underwriting from my friends, the legendary team at Hamilton Home Loans. Call them today. It's 844-FSU-LOAN, 844-FSU-LOAN, or just visit FSUHomeLoans.com, FSUHomeLoans.com.
Equal housing lender, NMLS number 200719.
Hey, this is Dustin Rivas. During the pandemic, I noticed restaurants struggling with online ordering and watched as all the major third parties took advantage of our local restaurants and thought there must be a better way, which is why I created foodiestakeout.com. The unique thing about Foodies Takeout is that restaurants keep 100% of their order revenue versus splitting upwards of 30% with the third parties like Uber Eats and Bite Squad. At Foodies Takeout, you can find some of your favorite restaurants, such as Jerry's Midtown Cafe, Miss D's Kitchen in Frenchtown, Casa Grande, and even El Jalisco. Or if you're on the north side of town, check out Horizons Bar and Grill. Why not give us a try? Head to foodiestakeout.com or text foodies to 230-9456, and I'll even give you 10% off your first meal. Supporting local restaurants has never been easier. Visit foodiestakeout.com.
Now go call Seminole Glass. They'll get on the road and get it done fast.
Your local family-owned glass company, serving the Big Bend for over 15 years. At Seminole Auto Glass, we care about your safety. Insurance will send you wherever it benefits them, not the quality of service. There's a difference in auto glass companies. Trust your local auto glass experts. Seminole Auto Glass.
They handle any kind of broken glass, and you know who they are.
Better call Seminole.
Thank you for calling the Medicare Help Desk. How can we help you?
Can you help me choose the right coverage for myself and my wife?
We sure can. We can help you choose from Medicare supplements, Medicare Advantage, or standalone prescription drug plans from over 30 different insurance carriers.
How much does it cost? We have a fixed income and can't afford extra expenses.
At the Medicare Help Desk, the consultation is completely free. We are here to help.
Thank you, Medicare Help Desk.
Hi, this is Justin Colvin, founder of the Medicare Help Desk. In my 17 years of experience, I routinely speak to seniors who are overwhelmed by the multitude of coverage options available to them. That's why I created the Medicare Help Desk, a place for you to get clear answers to all your questions and make sense of all the confusion. I've helped thousands of clients, and I live right here in Tallahassee with my family. I am active in my church and wish to help and serve my community. If you need help navigating the Medicare landscape, I'm easy to find. Just visit the MedicareHelpDesk.com. That's the MedicareHelpDesk.com.
Your body is a masterpiece designed to heal itself from within. Learn how to maximize your health by tuning in to Phenomenal Health with me, Dr. Ryan Finn. Saturdays at 2:30. Experience true health today and call Finn Chiropractic at 386-7700.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com.
Thinking about the grant of rights and love for Ira or Corey to write a column and or Jeff to talk more in depth about the absurdity of signing such a long-term binding contract. Any listener to the Jeff Cameron Show could have told you this was a bad idea at the time. Could you go more in depth on why the grant of rights was signed for such an extended period of time? Yeah, you got to put your mind in your body and in your outlook to a time where uncertainty reigned, and you had what would be called rampant speculation about, and if we're going to bring it back home, I'll bring it back home for a second. Florida State, what was going to happen with Florida State? What was Florida State's future in the ACC? Because if you're going back to 2013, and we are at the time that if you're getting back to if you're going back, I remember Ira wrote a piece on Florida State's role in ACC's media rights deal, and obviously Florida State was king at that time, and the grant of rights requires, and this is what is the source of much consternation. Any university in the ACC that leaves to forfeit its television revenue, which equates to hundreds of millions of dollars, for the length of the contract, right? And at that time, Eric Barron, he was the president at Florida State. He's the one, along with the board of trustees, that engineered this move. And fans then did question why it was that you were hitching your wagon to what we all have described as an inferior league. And that there was more money that would be made down the line if you could join an SEC. I remember at that time, people were even talking about, could we go to the Big 12? Anywhere but here, right? Florida State, at that time, certainly Clemson had not rose to the kind of prominence that Florida State possessed at that time, had to be seduced, had to be wooed along with Clemson and some of the other schools in order for the ACC to have some legs to stand on while negotiating a long-term contract with ESPN. And of course, ESPN has the broadcast rights to, a lot of college football, but the ACC. John Swofford was fighting to get FSU to buy in so the TV consultant could sit down and you could argue with ESPN, see, we've taken the important steps necessary to create stability during a time of great instability in college football, where realignment is happening all around us and conferences don't know if they're going to make it, if they're going to survive or not. Are they going to lose their best assets? And where are those assets going? And we were hell-bent, the ACC was hell-bent on getting a deal done that was similar to that of the SEC in terms of having a network. And ESPN was not going to negotiate a long-term television deal if it didn't perceive that there was real stability that they were paying into, that they had to know. Why would you have an ACC network if the ACC didn't have Florida State, didn't have Clemson potentially, didn't have Miami potentially, didn't have the marquee football programs of this conference, those programs with the most amount of cachet, moreover, brand recognition that draws eyes to sets, right? I mean, you couldn't sell them on, hey, man, Wake will be here. Well, who gives a damn? And that's not a knock on Wake. Just 75 people go to Wake. They weren't going to do that. So they felt an immense amount of pressure to present a stable front to ESPN in the hope that it would win them the negotiation of a long-term television contract that, while not the same, was similar to what we see in the SEC. And you have to remember that was the collective mindset in 2013. Now, what you would want is a visionary to say, whoa, Eric Barron, TV consultant, university presidents, man, I don't think this is a good idea. I don't think that hitching our wagon to the ACC and giving up our grant of rights to 2030 freaking 6 is real smart. A, that seems like way too long a period of time. And B, man, a lot of changes are going to take place. We see where this is headed. This is about the networks, the money spent on these individual on these contracts for these conferences. And do you think that long term, this conference that has been in bed with basketball and has held it on high as the only sport that matters is going to have a fighting chance to drive the bus in the world of football and those television negotiations in the same way that the SEC and the Big Ten is? Because if they had said that, somebody might have said, yeah, good point. Good point. That's true. I'm not so sure I believe that either, guys. But alas, they did not. And by the way, we see this all the time. You might ask yourself, well, wait a minute now. University presidents and athletic directors and conference commissioners, these are bright guys who didn't get to that spot without having a good sense of the lay of the land and a wisdom to their interactions. I don't know. Look around. Look at the highest levels of government. Look anywhere you want to look. People in positions, huge responsibility, major power, sphere of influence, constantly say and do stupid things that make the news on a daily basis, that make us all go, maybe it's a little bit more about who they knew and the favors that they were willing to partake in. Not saying they aren't smart men. They are appreciably smarter than you and me. Seems to be overwhelming evidence on a pretty consistent basis that, not appreciably. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
The Tallahassee Police Department is investigating a shooting that occurred early Sunday morning on the 2900 block of Sherrill Road. At around 12:01 a.m., a witness said they saw a male subject approach a vehicle. The man was then seen running away from the vehicle as a person in the vehicle started shooting at the male subject. The individual in the vehicle along with a man both left the scene. No injuries were reported. Law enforcement officials were able to collect shell casings at the scene. The Gadsden County Sheriff's Office is now saying 8 people have died of suspected drug overdoses in the first 5 days of July, while another 8 have been hospitalized. The most recent case is a 62-year-old man found dead Tuesday morning around 11:15 a.m. at a home on Highway 90 just west of Quincy. Preliminary findings suggest the deaths are due to drugs like cocaine and marijuana being laced with fentanyl. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. A blend of clouds and sun this afternoon with a chance for scattered storms. Daytime highs approaching 94. South winds around 5 miles per hour. Chance for scattered thunderstorms again tonight. Lows level off around 76. Partly cloudy skies. Chance for scattered storms tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 93. Mainly sunny skies and calm. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 92.
Every great construction project, whether it's a new addition or renovation, starts with a plan. At T-Spark, we are excited when our clients contact us to assist with that plan. Through our team of architects, draftsmen, engineers, we can help you with your project's planning and design, potentially saving costs in the long run. Whether you have a residential or commercial project, we look forward to working with you. Call us today or visit us at tsparkconstruction.com. License number CGC 1525336.
Well. Hey, Jeff, look at this place.
Yeah. Well, doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you, brother, but, it hasn't been a while since I've been over to Gordo's. I go there on the regular because of you, Eddie.
Well, we keep you regular.
Well, that's true, but I think of Gordo's as a place to sit down, have a cold beer, talk to your friends, enjoy the sports, eat the delicious food. But I think of you as Uncle Eddie, a man who takes care of his people and takes care of the town.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, and we'll keep you regular.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Here's what you missed on the Greg Tish Show.
Chattanooga, Tennessee. Pastor Tabner was alone with a female church employee. She in a towel and he in his boxers. The charismatic 41-year-old Hurley explained the two of them had been making chili and gotten food on the floor. With the hot dogs that they were making, we are hoping that the pastor used the right condiments.
Think? There was at least one hot dog involved.
I don't
don't know what you're talking about. We were just making chili dogs.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3. The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness, 2 Tallahassee locations.
The ACC suggests that it's going to be pretty interesting how they decide to play this. They're going to have, we know the networks are going to have a major say as to how this plays out. And, you know, I'll give you an example. So there's a thought out there. I've talked to a number of sources on this. And, you know, I mentioned earlier that Notre Dame, obviously, we're all waiting on Notre Dame. And Notre Dame being the biggest fish to fry. And we got to figure out, are they going to the Big Ten? Is there any chance whatsoever that they could get Notre Dame in the ACC? I doubt it. I don't think that Notre Dame will come permanently to the ACC. But what chance they do have, one would argue, is if ESPN recognizes, so you think about the ratings that Notre Dame provides you. You look at the television ratings of Florida State Notre Dame, for example. So ESPN has a major investment in the ACC. They funded the channel. The ACC network. They care about the ACC as it's currently constructed. They'd like to get something out of this, right? Well, you get Notre Dame into the ACC, they get a lot of games that they get to televise with Notre Dame. Eyes on sets, brands, right? Notre Dame joins the Big Ten. ESPN doesn't get to play Notre Dame games, or at least not very frequently. So do they, with that influence, push Notre Dame to go to the ACC? Is this part of a larger effort by the ACC, which seems pretty much up against it right now? Is this part of a larger effort to then go and see if you can get, I don't know, some sort of alliance with the Pac-12, which you keep hearing? And again, I think this is a lot. I think this is a lot of people throwing stuff against the wall and seeing what sticks. Notre Dame's not coming to the ACC. I don't buy it at all. B, I think this idea of, could you put together a conference that maybe it's not the same in terms of stature of the SEC and the Big Ten, but could you have a conference that features Notre Dame, Clemson, Florida State, Miami, Virginia Tech, North Carolina, Virginia, and you get rid of some of these other bums like Syracuse and Boston College, let's say, and then you bring in and work with, I don't know, for the time being, Oregon, Washington, some Pac-12 teams that are now up against it as well, since they've lost the LA market and USC and UCLA have bolted. I guess. I just don't see that happening. I think what's more likely to happen is teams like, I don't know if you saw Jim Donnan. He talked about this in an interview he gave yesterday. No, I don't know that Jim Donnan's any more clued into this than you or me, but I've talked to Jim several times, and obviously he's been in college football for a very long time as a coach. And he's sure that the SEC is going to make a run. I retweeted his interview. He thinks that the SEC will grab North Carolina, Florida State, Clemson, and Miami. North Carolina, Clemson, Miami, Florida State. That those are the four that they will try to bring in immediately. And then, of course, if that were to happen, the Big Ten would counter. We know, pretty sure, we think they'd go after probably Oregon, Washington, couple of other teams. I don't know who. It's all speculative right now. But I would think, first of all, geographically, it makes far more sense for Notre Dame to go to the Big Ten. I've always kind of thought of them as a Big Ten school, even though they're an independent. And it always seemed to make sense. Like you can picture Notre Dame, and you have many times over the years playing Michigan and playing those schools. You know, and that's a game that you can see. And if you think about the travel costs in all of this too, like it is strange to think about Southern Cal taking on the aforementioned Rutgers. Now, again, if the television contract is big enough, well, it offsets that, and you're going to fly comfortably, and you're going to be all right. Now, then we get into a larger discussion about how does this affect the Olympic sports? Because as of right now, the conversation centers around football and basketball, not even baseball, football and basketball. But if you think that it's cost effective for them to swim against one another and travel from California to New Jersey so that your swim teams, your non-revenue sports can get after it, man, that ain't going to happen. Those other sports aren't coming into this discussion. This is going to be a separate deal. And people will ask the question, what will the NCAA, will the NCAA exist, and will it have control over anything? Yeah, it will continue to conduct the non-revenue sports, and those teams will remain in the leagues that they're in. They're not going to be traveling all over hell's half acres the way that the football team and the basketball team is. So, yeah, and I think, at that point, once that domino falls, when Notre Dame decides, let's say, to go to the Big Ten, then the next thing that will happen that influences Florida State will have happened, and we can start. Everybody wants this accelerated, and I who doesn't? I get it. You want this accelerated. We all do. I thought this was interesting today, and maybe, we'll see how this goes. Again, we talk about deals with market penetration and brand power and those kinds of phrases. The Big 12, if you read in The Athletic today, feels like they've been, now this is a nice way to phrase this, by the way. This just sounds like asking the question you wished was asked of you as opposed to the one that was. The Big 12 sees this, quote, as an unexpected opportunity. That is fantastic. Now, I fear that while on the campaign trail, I said something that I should not have, that perhaps was unfavorable in the eyes of many core voters. But I see this as a wonderful opportunity to expound on something that those voters are obviously passionate about. So please, Mike, let me go ahead and tell you what I really meant. Doesn't that sound a little bit like that?
So I just got fired, but I now have this unexpected opportunity
to work
grow
elsewhere.
my garden with all this free time that I have.
And I've been wanting to plant sunflowers for the longest. The Big 12 sees it as an unexpected opportunity to strengthen its position amongst the Power 5 conferences. The new commissioner says he doesn't want to waste any time. He wants to get straight to it. Is alleged that the Big 12 is in, quote, serious talks with, according to The Athletic, Arizona, Arizona State, Colorado, Oregon, Utah, and Washington. Now, if the Big 12 secures a deal on expansion, obviously there'd be a lot of optimism if you had the Big 12 with Arizona, Arizona State, Colorado, Oregon, Washington, Utah. Utah is an interesting team. I keep bringing them up. Utah is a strong program that continues to get better and invest. It's a state whose population is growing. And I think they're going to be part of this discussion too. It's not the same. I'm not telling you it's the same as certain other schools. They're certainly not Notre Dame. But my point would be that they're going to be included in some of this. And it'll be interesting. But any part of this sort of deal in terms of the Big 12 going after those teams, obviously, you lose two flagship schools out of the Pac-12 in the form of Southern Cal and UCLA. They're here to tell anybody that'll listen in the Pac-12, we're not panicking either. We may partner with the ACC so that we don't fall further behind the SEC and the Big Ten in terms of an annual revenue contract with whoever's going to carry that. But in truth, everybody is waiting now on, is the Big Ten going to offer Oregon and Washington? Are they just waiting for Notre Dame? And then will they go and proceed? Because it doesn't seem like this is stopping, right? And what we have, and certainly what we have now, is time and again evidence showing that those who care not for backlash, blowback, frustration of the college football universe, but only forge ahead, securing their future and the programs in their league's future, those are the teams, these are the people that make out best and land on their feet. So you can be certain that the SEC and the Big Ten aren't going to sit around and wait for other leagues to save themselves. They're going to aggressively pursue the things that allow them to secure said massive television contract and protect their entities. So that's where this is. I mean, look, at the end of the day, I am excited to find out, just like everybody else, what is going to happen with Oregon and Washington. Phil's going to have a seat at the table. Phil Knight is going to have a seat at the table.
If you're Notre Dame, is there any benefit to just continuing this year as independent and then just seeing where all the dominoes fall, or do you want to get in while the getting's good and just go to the highest bidder out of the Big Ten and the SEC?
I think ultimately they'll go. I think they're going to go to the Big Ten if they go anywhere. I think they would probably, I know they would rather keep their independence. They'd rather tell both sides, go pound sand. But if they find out they're going to be left out of a college football playoff and the money that comes with, then maybe that forces their hand a little bit. It will be fascinating. By the way, Preston, I see you. Wouldn't we all be in love then? The ACC trying to be the President's Cup of college football, and you know my passion, my deep-rooted passion for the President's Cup. By the way, tonight's Beyond the Tips on SiriusXM PGA Tour Channel 92. You can hear my interview and Trey Jones' interview with Russell Knox, professional golfer, Scottish as he is, and they're playing in Scotland. It's a hometown match for him, and he was really, really cool. He was willing to talk a little bit more about the blossoming relationship and partnership of the DP World Tour and the PGA, which is now coming together more and more to create these better fields and to double middle finger live. And that is kind of where that is headed. But he talked about it openly. I get a sense that players are being told, talk about this. It's good. Go ahead. Yeah. Say it louder. Because, I think they are going to do more together moving forward. They recognize the importance of this. So that's where we're headed. Adrian writes, do Miami and FSU go as a package deal to a new conference? I'd love to say yes, but I don't know. Florida State, Miami, North Carolina State. Florida State, Miami, Clemson, North Carolina. You could make cases both from a market and from a brand standpoint that it would be vital if you stop pussyfooting, as I like to say, if you stop pussyfooting about adding a team here or there and decide to go for the jugular and say, well, who are we kidding? So you're the Big Ten and you decide that you want to expand the brand to the South and go into the SEC's backyard and grab known entities, name brands. Well, would you make a run at Florida State, Miami, North Carolina, Virginia, Clemson, Virginia Tech? If you're the SEC and you're anticipating that very thing, would you say, oh, no, that ain't going to happen? We value the regionality of what we are. We've expanded west as far as we're going to expand. Let's go ahead and just logically, geographically incorporate and expand again the vitality of what we already own by having Florida State, Clemson, North Carolina, Miami. I don't know what that next step is. I just know that it would seem to me that the death knell has already been signaled for the ACC. I'm pretty sure that they're not going to survive. Again, one of the things, and I was, I know Ryan Kelly talked some about this on WCTV, and I've known Ryan for years. When you take a step back and you look at what's happening with college football, you can rightfully, I think, bemoan some of this and lament some of this and be saddened about the swaths of changes, the radical changes of college football. But you can do that for a few minutes. If you're a person in power and seek to survive, and you got to adapt or perish, right? That's it. So that's probably what we're in the midst in now. Hour number 2 forthcoming. Stay with us. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Hey man, have you heard the sound? Pentalpha Jewelry's the best in town. For rings, diamonds, earrings, bracelets, and more. Pentalpha Jewelry, Jewelry Store.
Hey, this is Greg Tish. I want to tell you about my first experience at Pentalpha Jewelry. It was many, many years ago, and my grandparents took me up there for a special occasion to buy me a necklace. I still remember how amazing the customer service was. Fast forward to today, and I can still go in there and get the same great customer service at Pentalpha Jewelry. Nothing has changed, not even their location, 2903 Appalachia Parkway, where they've always been. Now sing along with me, and I'll see you at Pentalpha Jewelry.
Pentalpha Jewelry, Pentalpha Jewelry, Pentalpha Jewelry, on the real nice guys.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Physical stress on our bodies can take its toll as the years go by. Whether you're looking to get back into an old sport or just want to spend more time outdoors to explore all life has to offer in our beautiful city, the dedicated team at TOC is here for you every step of the way. You can trust TOC for all your orthopedic needs. And now, scheduling an appointment has never been easier. Just visit teamtoc.com and click schedule online. That's teamtoc.com.
This is Kyle, Service Manager from Barano Heating and Air. Schedule an appointment from your mobile device to learn about our Total Comfort Service Program. With guaranteed same-day service, 15% off necessary repairs, and $25 berry bucks to use towards air filters and other products. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Any day, anytime, anywhere. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license CAC 1816-186.
Well. Hey, Jeff, look at this place.
Yeah. Well, doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you, brother, but, it hasn't been a while since I've been over to Gordo's. I go there on the regular because of you, Eddie.
Well, we keep you regular.
Well, that's true, but I think of Gordo's as a place to sit down, have a cold beer, talk to your friends, enjoy the sports, eat the delicious food. But I think of you as Uncle Eddie, a man who takes care of his people and takes care of the town.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, and we'll keep you regular.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Gretna, Tallahassee.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. Correspondent Tim McGuire says more is being learned about the young man accused of opening fire on a 4th of July parade in Illinois.
21-year-old Robert Cremo III is accused of killing 7 people, wounding dozens of others in an attack on an Independence Day parade in Highland Park, Illinois. State's Attorney Eric Reinhardt says he's charged with 7 counts of first-degree murder.
A mandatory life sentence should he be convicted without the possibility of parole.
Investigators say police recalled 2 incidents in 2019 involving Cremo, an apparent suicide attempt, and later in September, threats against family members. Despite all that, in December 2019, with his father as a sponsor, he applied for a state police gun owner's license. Through that, he legally bought 5 firearms. I'm Tim McGuire.
Also at townhall.com, a deadline is fast approaching for teachers, librarians, nurses, and others who work in public service to apply to have their student loan debt forgiven. Bob Agnew reports.
New figures from the U.S. Department of Education show 145,000 borrowers have had the remainder of their debt canceled through the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. Most of those cancellations have come since the government relaxed the complex rules to apply for the program last fall. But those less stringent rules will only apply until October 31st. Federal figures show an estimated 43 million Americans carry student loans worth a total of $1.6 trillion. Bob Agnew reporting.
Evacuation orders expanded for remote California communities near a wildfire that may have been sparked by fireworks or a barbecue on the 4th of July in a mountainous region that is a top tourist destination. The Electrifier in Sierra Nevada Gold Country broke out Monday afternoon and has tripled in size to about 6 square miles. It was 5% contained last night. More at townhall.com.
Charlie Dombeck here from Key City Capital. As a practicing CPA for nearly 30 years, I have found that 80% of your ability to grow your wealth is dependent upon 2 factors: taxes and investment performance. At Key City Capital, we improve investment performance by diversifying capital into off-market investment opportunities in passive rental real estate and alternatives like asset-backed lending. We recover dollars that clients unnecessarily pay in the form of income taxes, creating a lifetime annuity of savings. We are a sponsor of passive, affordable single and multifamily residential rental investments, which are located in Sunbelt landlord-friendly states. These investments are the top choices in a rising interest rate and inflationary environment. They represent a store of value, protecting your capital from market volatility. Learn how we at Key City Capital can help you ultimately grow your wealth rapidly. Connect with me at keycitycapital.com or give me a call at 817-912-1569.
Right here in our hometown is a local spot where you can take a break from all your worries. A place where everybody knows his name is Smitty's Tap House and Grill. Smitty's deep appreciation for fine craft beers and tasty bar treats sets the stage as the ideal local neighborhood pub. Want to know more? Just visit Smitty'sTapHouse.com to check out the full menu. Come see us at Smitty's Tap House and Grill on Thomasville Road, just north of Cary Forest Parkway. You'll be glad you came, where everybody knows his name.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Himself, I think. By the way, I think the game that he went to, I think the Mets got pasted. Is that right? Did I see that right? I think Texas.
I think that's right.
I
Yeah.
think that's right. Yeah. That always sucks. You get to go to like one game, you're out of town, you're going to do your thing, and then you go and your team. Had he just gone over to Pittsburgh, he could have watched the Pirates take down the New York Yankees in dominating fashion.
What is the Pirates' combined record this year against the Dodgers and the Yankees?
Well, we play the Yankees again tonight, so we'll see if we can get the 2-game. It's just a little 2-game sweepage. We own the Dodgers' ass. It doesn't make sense. Baseball's the weirdest sport. I spent all of that hour talking a lot about the changes to college football ever since the story broke. John Wilner, Pac-12 Hotline, San Jose, California, was the first to report that USC, UCLA, peace to the Pac-12. We're out of here. Going to go take our money from the Big Ten and ride the hell out because the writing is on the wall. The Pac-12 revenue from media rights has been minuscule compared to the likes of the Big Ten. Pac-12 declining thanks to Larry Scott and his disastrous tenure as commissioner. A failure. Now the Big Ten says, come on, we got you. We want that LA market to go with New York and Philadelphia and Baltimore. Come on. Plus, you're a brand name. Come on. And ever since then, we've just thought, oh, all right. It's happening again, everybody. What to do? And the question then became, obviously, hey, what's going to happen to Florida State? And by the way, Swish Irish, to answer your question, just because it's fun, I did not bring up the quote-unquote loose agreement between the Pac-12 and the ACC. How'd that work out for you with the the alliance? Long live the alliance. Oh, man. Yeah, the alliance didn't work out because it was a loose agreement. And it was not only a loose, and I'm sad because I wanted the alliance to be a lot like some sort of band of superheroes with an emblem. I wanted a motto. I wanted an emblem. I wanted to wear a silly shirt that had a silly emblem, an alliance emblem that my fellow members of the alliance and fans of the alliance could see as I traversed the grounds at alliance institutions near you, and we'd see each other, and there'd be a knowing nod, like these geeks that see each other in a Batman shirt. They get that look. They're all giddy. They love the backstory. They know, oh, you're a fan of that guy too. Me too. I like Batman. I like Spider-Man too. What about you? I like the Flash. So
you want to have like a Comic-Con for alliance team fans?
Yeah.
So they can dress up as their favorite players.
Yeah, from those teams in the alliance. I see you over there. Oregon State, fellow alliance member. Look at my alliance shirt. I think less is more when it comes to the alliance. I just want, you don't need the gaudy stripes and outlandish colors. My alliance could just be just a little A. Maybe I'm wearing a light blue shirt with a little A. And then somebody, is he? Oh, he's wearing an alliance shirt. Oh, that's a good one too. That's a good one. You know what? I've always said this, John, less is more. My man understands less is more. Look at that little A. That guy right there, there's dignity, just like the alliance. It's going to be great. So that's kind of where there it is. So the alliance is no more because it was a loose agreement. And I remember Bruce Feldman was like, so how does the alliance work? Like when the reporters in the room asked real questions about the alliance, people got nervous. Like, oh, wait. We don't have to answer anything. No, they just understand that the alliance is a real thing.
This is just an announcement. We're not taking questions.
We're not taking questions now. Let's not get out over our skis here, Bruce. We're just here to quickly tell you that in order to thwart the ever-increasing menace of the SEC and the Big Ten, we have formed an alliance. Is there a contract that's been agreed upon by university presidents at these member institutions of the alliance? Well, and again, Bruce, can we slow down here? I just want you to know there's a loose agreement between the teams of the alliance and the athletic directors, coaches, and university presidents. We will solidify this by way of contract in the very near future. Meanwhile, the Pac-12's like, the hell we will. We're going to the Big Ten. Peace, bitches. We're out of here. But Jerry, what about the alliance? The alliance. It's a loose agreement, Paul.
It was always loose. It was always going to be loose.
It's a loose agreement, Paul. We're going to run roughshod over the alliance. We're going to be looking at our bare butt cheeks as we take it to the Big Ten, wondering what happened to the alliance. That's what we're doing, Paul. Give me a beer. So that's the end of that, right? That's it. No alliance. And I didn't even get a chance to get my shirt. I didn't get my vanity plate, as Preston points out, my alliance vanity plate. I didn't get it. And I should have got, well, the getting was good. Somebody printed some shirts somewhere when they heard of the alliance. They thought, well, we got to do what we can to support this thing. It's a fledgling effort. I'm not sure it's going to make it in the long run. But I'm going to give my $7 and get me a Fruity the Loom Alliance shirt. You know, by the way, as an aside, Alliance state tags, right? Wouldn't that have been something? Oh, look at that. Look at that. Fellow member of the alliance. And you know, as you drove past the folks that were fans of the alliance, supporters of the alliance, to the point where they had a vanity plate, you could drive past them and then we'd have like a famous sign, you know, like an A with our fingers like that or something. Like you'd like do some sort of thing, almost like a gang sign. We could throw up like the deuces, only with an A, and then people, oh, there, he's an alliance member too. Remember when the alliance was formed, Kevin? I do. It was a big day. Started out as a loose agreement. Very loose agreement. And then it was codified, solidified in the nick of time. We were able to get it done. Now, as one thing we have not had a chance to talk about at length is the lost alliance endeavor, which upsets me. It's funny because this is the month that we head on down the road to Charlotte for the ACC kickoff. Very excited about that, but it's going to be a weird ACC kickoff, Director Matthew. Just a lot of guys like faraway stares, you know, just sort of this may be the last time I ever see you, Kip, you know, that kind of a thing. By the way, not enough people named Kip anymore. When was the last time you met a Kip? I'm bringing Kip back. I used to know more than one Kip. When you say Kip, what do you think of? I think of a guy who has a mustache. Dated, 70s, spectacles, out-of-date haircut. Might even be kind of a sandy redhead, freckles. That's Kip. That's Kip. You're like, oh, look, how's Kip? But I do think when you get up there to the ACC kickoff, when I get up there to the ACC kickoff, it's going to be weird. It's like you want to ask. And Jim Phillips, I knew you were going to go there, Rick. Kip Winger. It's like the only Kip you know, right? And I don't mean that disparagingly. It's like there are just not that many Kips. But you want to ask Jim Phillips, like, okay, before we get, because they always have the State of the Union to start things off. It's always sort of this, all right, welcome into Charlotte, North Carolina. We're so excited to have you. Let me tell you about what the ACC has in store. I know you have a lot of questions, but before we get started, they don't call it this, but it's a bit of a filibuster. It's sort of, he's going to tell you, we had 172 national championships won by the ACC last year. Everything from water polo to fencing to track, certainly dominated lacrosse yet again. Am I right? And then just like they'll go through and tell everybody about the collective championships won by the ACC. And they're hoping that creates a situation in which you beam with pride, that the objectivity you entered the room with in order to ask questions of the commissioner somehow dissolves into a lump of misguided patriotism towards the ACC, if you will. It's sort of like that, like a child's like love of country. It's a childlike love of a conference at this point. You don't even know why you're waving the ACC flag. You're just told that you're supposed to, so you do. You don't ever question it. You put the sticker on your car, ACC. You chant it like these losers in the SEC. You just walk around saying it. You don't even know why. It's just like lemmings. So there you are, and so they're hoping that it wells up from deep inside you. You didn't even know it existed, down deep in the cockles, that you had a love of the ACC. And when he's telling you about all these championships, you're like, man, I hope this league can make it. What are we going to do without the ACC? And then they can, the questions then become a little bit fluffier, a little bit lighter, not filled with the kind of vitriol that one feels currently when they think of the sad state of affairs in the ACC. And it's not going to work this year because everybody's going to go, yeah, man, nobody cares. Nobody cares. Great, good. We're really good at lacrosse. The league, man, the plane is into the side of the mountain, Jim. The plane is into the side of the mountain, and you're telling me about lacrosse championships. Nobody cares.
Jim, the vitriol I feel right now is not loose. And it will not be dismayed by a lacrosse national championship. I'm sorry.
Yes. It's just like, come on, man. Let's go. Give me a little something. Give me all right, guys, gig is up. You know it and I know it. This is a sinking ship. We are all gathered here on the deck of the Titanic. What a mess. I'm not going to effort to reassemble the deck chairs. No, I'm going to shoot you straight. That's why when that damn alliance crumbled after our loose agreement went the way of the dodo, I decided to get something concrete. I have decided that North Carolina, Florida State, Clemson, and Miami, and myself as a representative for those four schools are leaving for the SEC. Peace. Have a good day. Good luck, Pitt, Boston College, Wake, and Syracuse. Best of luck to you. We're out of here. Let's go, Florida State, Clemson, Miami, North Carolina. Come with me. Drinks on me. What a day to celebrate. Let's leave this dump of a town.
Somebody will be in here to answer questions, I guess. I don't really care anymore.
Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something? Well, look what just happened here. Florida State, Clemson, North Carolina, and Miami just lit the joint on fire and rode out in a Tesla. Laughing. I saw him smirking. That's what a loose agreement will get you, Bob. Left behind with Syracuse, Duke, Wake, Louisville, too. I wonder what is going to happen with Louisville, though. That's an interesting one. Louisville is one of those teams when you play the game, when you play the fun game, which is to sit with your buddies and say, all right, are they in or are they out? Do they make it or do they die? In, out. Man, there's some teams that are really sweating. There's some teams right now like, man, I knew this day would come. We're not going to be able to do it. I don't know. On a serious note, all sarcasm, jokes aside here for a second, I will still watch, and you do this too. We all do because we love the game. And I get back to this affinity for, this passion for, this love of the game of college football. I do think there's always room for these teams that aren't going to be part of this massive super conference. And you'll watch that. You'll just know what you're watching is very different. And, I during the regular football season, all right, okay, so Florida State, let's say, is not on or they've already played, and you settle in the creature comforts of your home and the ice cold beer, and you're going to watch football until you fall asleep in the chair, whatever it might be, right? Well, you flip around and you watch everything. Almost cursed again. Temple could be taking on Marshall, and I'd be like, oh, Temple and Marshall's on. I'm going to watch it. I do that all the time. My wife's like, "You're watching Temple and Marshall. Good game. Tied at 6. Been a defensive struggle." I'll watch it. You could then say, "What are you watching later?" I don't know. I see Coastal Carolina's taking on East Carolina. Kind of underrated rivalry between those two. I think I'll tune into that ECU Coastal Carolina matchup later today. And then my wife always says, "You don't care about that game, save for the fact that you probably, you damn degenerate, bet money on it." Well, I did indeed. And so I do care about it, I'll have you know. And I can't wait to watch that underrated rivalry that is East Carolina and Coastal Carolina. In fact, they're getting ready to kick it off. Scatter, please. I'm going to watch my big matchup between these two underrated rivals. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
My name is Shannon Pash, and I'm the principal at Red Hills Academy. We will provide a challenging, rigorous curriculum. We will also work with our students to teach them how to set goals and then how to work to reach those goals. Red Hills Academy will offer the Spanish language every day. Relationships are really important to us, not just with our students, but with our families and the community. This benefits parents and students alike because parents get that involvement within the school. Easily apply online today at redhillsacademy.com.
You were always more than my mom. You were my role model, my best friend, and biggest supporter. You filled my days with unconditional love. And you also prepared for the day when you couldn't be here. Because of the woman you were back then, I'm able to be the woman I am now. Your planning made this moment possible.
Set your family up for life. Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance. Your friends for life.
This is Andy Cohen. When I was a law enforcement officer, I devoted my life to a career of service and protection. Who's protecting you? Give me a call. 850-671-FARM. That's 671-FARM. Helping you is what we do best.
Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi. Not licensed to do business in all 50 states.
Sellers Tile does it better for business owners, contractors, designers, and homeowners. Better design ideas, better quality tile, carpet, and hardwood flooring, better mosaics, ceramic, and vinyl solutions. And Sellers makes it easier with their amazing showroom and first-class professionals. Maybe it's time to get Sellers working for you on Capitol Circle Northeast, just north of Mahan Drive, or online at sellerstile.com for better style, quality, and design. Go with Sellers in Tallahassee. Call 656-8453.
Hey, this is Dustin Rivest. During the pandemic, I noticed restaurants struggling with online ordering and watched as all the major third parties took advantage of our local restaurants and thought there must be a better way, which is why I created foodiestakeout.com. The unique thing about Foodies Takeout is that restaurants keep 100% of their order revenue versus splitting upwards of 30% with the third parties like Uber Eats and Bite Squad. At Foodies Takeout, you can find some of your favorite restaurants, such as Jerry's Midtown Cafe, Misty's Kitchen in Frenchtown, Casa Grande, and even El Jalisco. Or if you're on the north side of town, check out Horizons Bar and Grill. Why not give us a try? Head to foodiestakeout.com or text foodies to 230-9456, and I'll even give you 10% off your first meal. Supporting local restaurants has never been easier. Visit foodiestakeout.com.
All right, about that time to upgrade my iPad and my Apple Gear. How much memory do I need? What upgrade should I get? What size screen? How many chargers do I need? USB-C, USB-D, mini USB, USB-B, ABC, 1, 2, 3?
If only there was a local business that can guide you and help you understand what you need and get you the best pricing possible. Oh wait, that's what they do over at Macklemore Systems on Capitol Circle. Get help buying the right gear for the right price and have it shipped directly to their store for pickup, all at no extra cost. That's the kind of service you won't get at any big box store. Shop local at Macklemore Systems. Find out more online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today.
More life. We're always after that. More energy, more focus, more life. You want it? Well, you got to earn it. You got to go get it. Science-backed. Makes it a lot easier to efficiently improve your quality of life and get a great workout in. First class is always free. First month will be free if you get that heart rate monitor to go with, and you're going to want to do that. You're going to want to do that. And that interval training, they do that everywhere. World-class athletes do that, so they know what they're doing with that. Coaching is spectacular. It's not intimidating once you get in there. It looks like it from the outside, but once you get in there, you're like, oh, yeah. It's good. Everybody's kind of rooting for each other. Plus, you're not even paying attention to what other people are doing next to you. You're too busy trying to focus on your own breath because it's hard. It's not easy. Nothing ever is if it's worth it, right? If it's going to make real change to your quality of life. But it is efficient. Get in, get out, get it done. 2 locations in town here in Tallahassee. One's in Midtown. One's on the north side out by where I am. And I would invite you to go in there and say, all right. Get one of this here workouts. Cameron told me to come in here. I'm going to give it a go. You know, I bet you, I don't know if it's going to happen, but you know, on the pod lately, we've had a new partnership with Athletic Greens. And I bet you at some point they're going to ask me to be their permanent spokesman. Because I listen back to criticize my own shows and headlines and every other show that we have here on the network because I want to make sure that we're doing better, right? And so I hear those ad reads and I go, boy, Cameron, you are good. That Athletic Green read is something special. So we'll see. That's just a prediction of mine.
That's some incredible editing by the director.
Yeah. I never say that. I say, well, the cadence, the voice, the command of the language, the ease with which those words are parsed. I think of those things, but I should think occasionally. Good job, Director Matthew.
It's amazing how 2 different people can see the same thing so differently.
Hear it. Yeah, you're right. So tomorrow we have a little bit of more to add to the countdown, the Warchant Top 40. If you're looking for the next video, we've already done, by the way, 31 through 40, 21 through 30, 16 through 20. I think 11 through 15 now is, 11 through 15's in the books. And, that 11 through 15, by the way, Kevin Noles, Trayshawn Ward, Kalen DeLoach, Trey Benson, Akeem Dent. Why do I bring that up? Well, A, to draw your attention to that, so you can go back, watch that video, read the story that accompanies it on warchant.com. But B, again, I think it's accurate to say, excuse me, got a bit of a hiccup there. It's accurate to say that this is the first time in a long time that 11 through 15, 15 through 20. See, I got the hiccups. Now that is not good as a talk show host. That the grouping is not kind of devoid of real talent. You look at that grouping and you go, DeLoach is a nice player, really improved last year. Trayshawn Ward is a good football player, runs hard. Trey Benson was kind of the star of spring. Figures to add a lot to that running back room. Akeem Dent, by season's end, was finally living up to the billing, right? He was finally, that move to safety changed everything. He got comfortable every week that he was there. He got better. This is a kid that made the big interception against Boston College, ended up with 44 tackles, 8 tackles in that final game against Florida. Him and Jamie Robinson. I had one buddy text me over the weekend. He was looking at that list and he said, man, having plus to maybe even very good safety play this year excites the hell out of me because it's just not something that you've been able to trust going into the season the last several years. I think most of us are just kind of looking at that as the thing now that's a given. You're like, oh, no, they're going to be fine. They'll be good. You have other question marks, but that grouping you feel very good about. So I just want to point out that I try to be candid when we come on the show. If there are areas that people think are vastly improved, for example, and I don't think they're vastly improved, I'll disagree with my cohorts who I don't think are trying to mislead you, but I will tell you, I'm not real sure. It started out that way with the offensive line in spring. I was like, oh, I don't know, man. At some point, is Caden Lyles going to get in there and do something? I'm not so sure about what they were trying to do with Lloyd Willis. I'm like, not ready. But this is a group that I do feel better about. And I think for the most part, you're seeing the caliber of athlete for Florida State, the depth of caliber of athlete, the improvement is very real. So I'm kind of getting excited about the idea here that this is going to be, and it's an important year, man. It's an important year for a lot of reasons. We keep talking about this, but you just would feel so much better about where you're trending and where you're headed and the security that you want, that you seek, that we're all, kind of talking about this last hour and a half. It all changes with a quality season. Put yourself in a good position to get gobbled up. Put yourself in a good position to just, have the fans energized, those that seek to give and help produce better recruiting results and results on the field. You want everybody to feel good. It's been a long time. But lately, when you look at Kendrick Falk, who they just got a commitment from, 4-star defensive end, that's not a player that lately Florida State's been able to bring in. You consider that Florida State gets that commitment. The schools that were interested, Auburn, Clemson, Florida, Alabama. Man, we don't have too many players to point to in the last few years who are being pursued by, this kid had 31 offers. A lot of times when we get a commitment, it can be a little overshadowed when you pull up that list of teams that you had to beat out. You're like, oh, we got Jerry Smith. Who was Jerry Smith being recruited by? Well, look at that. We beat out Temple and Tulane. So there's that. Not this time. Pull up that list. Look at those visits. Visited Alabama. Visited Auburn. Right there. His own backyard, right? And he says, no, I'm taking it to Florida State. 6'5", 260, 4-star at an important position, top 55 nationally. All right. God, I hope we keep it going. And it's funny, Corey brought up he had a dream yesterday. He was talking about, he was talking Florida State football with his dad. I think it may have been the impetus for my dream last night. I had a dream we were in New Orleans, go into the game against LSU. In the dream, for some reason, this is because dreams are weird, for some reason, I turned to Tom Lang as we were walking into the stadium, and I said, I got a funny feeling Florida State's going to win by 24 points today. And in my dream, because, again, dreams are weird, when I said it, I already knew the result. Like I somehow magically saw the result, and we had indeed won 34-10. Now, that's not going to happen. It was just a dream. We are not going to beat LSU 34-10. I don't believe that. It's just a dream. But get that win, guys. Let's get that win. Let's put ourselves in a position to get greedy.
I honestly thought you were going to say that you saw Corey's dad.
Oh, in the dream? Yeah, that would have been something, huh?
I turned to Tom, and it was Corey's dad.
Yeah, it was Corey's dad, and we just started shooting the breeze. No, I did not. I turned to Tom and said, "I'm going to win big." And then we did. In my head, I woke up. Some of those dreams, when you wake up, you go, they're so real that you kind of have to think to yourself, did that happen? Have we already kicked the hell out of LSU? Oh, no. It's not even football season. What's wrong with me? Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Our local news now.
The Leon County Supervisor of Elections Office, in partnership with the Lighthouse of the Big Bend, is launching the enhanced ballot system to improve the accessibility of voting by mail for the disabled community. Voters can sign up now on the Supervisor of Elections Office. When the early voting period opens, voters will be able to download their ballot and mark it on their computer or print it out and mark it manually. This voting system is very similar to the system used for military or overseas voters. The enhanced ballots will go into effect in early July and will be up and running by the August 23rd primary. As fraud numbers continue to increase, identity protection protection experts are urging parents to freeze their child's credit to avoid a lifetime of financial headaches. Identity fraud incidents increased around 45% in 2020, with children frequently being the target. If the fraud has been going on for decades, it can have lifelong consequences for your child and be very difficult to fix. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. A blend of clouds and sun this afternoon with a chance for scattered storms. Daytime highs approaching 94, south winds around 5 miles per hour. Chance for scattered thunderstorms again tonight. Lows level off around 76, partly cloudy skies. Chance for scattered storms tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 93, mainly sunny skies and calm. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 94.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Right here in our hometown is a local spot where you can take a break from all your worries. A place where everybody knows his name is Smitty's Tap House and Grill. Smitty's deep appreciation for fine craft beers and tasty bar treats sets the stage as the ideal local neighborhood pub. Want to know more? Just visit Smitty'sTapHouse.com to check out the full menu. Come see us at Smitty's Tap House and Grill on Thomasville Road, just north of Cary Forest Parkway. You'll be glad you came, where everybody knows his name.
Well. Hey, Jeff, look at this place.
Yeah. Well, doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you, brother, but, it hasn't been a while since I've been over to Gordo's. I go there on the regular because of you, Eddie.
Well, we keep you regular.
Well, that's true, but I think of Gordo's as a place to sit down, have a cold beer, talk to your friends, enjoy the sports, eat the delicious food. But I think of you as Uncle Eddie, a man who takes care of his people and takes care of the town.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, and we'll keep you regular.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road, and
But Baker Mayfield's sorry ass is headed to the Carolina Panthers. Carolina Panthers fans were like, great. Yeah, we got Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield. Kicking ass and taking names, the most important position on the field. And it was going to be untenable there in Cleveland. So there you go. 2 franchises not really feeling good about themselves right now. That Cleveland thing has become a disaster. So onward we go, but that's where that is. And wow, I'm just starting to think about football getting started. Practice begins this month. How pumped are we? Because you know how this goes. Like, get us through this week. Get us to the weekend. All right, get us to the weekend. Well, the weekend ends and we're into mid-July. The weekend ends, it's like, what, July 11th, July 10th? So then all of a sudden you go, oh, it's mid-July. Mid-July. Sweet Jesus, practice is about to start. I'm about to load up the wagon, have Tom jump in, and we're about to drive all the way to Charlotte. Plenty of time to iron out and fix all the ills of college football on that trek. Or just listen to Book on Tape. Something along those lines. Yeah, man. And by the way, I always try to give you what it is I'm reading, watching, listening to, looking at, being moved by. And I told you, Mike Wallace is here. It's really good, isn't it?
Yes, it was better than I thought it would be.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. So that's it. That's a good documentary. I'll probably see my kids are out of town. So right now is the time. I get this little brief respite where I'm able to make a run at documentaries, movies, things that I've missed, books I wanted to read. I cram it all in.
This might be a better conversation for off air, but I'm gonna ask anyway. I've kind of gotten off the Netflix train as far as documentaries go.
Yeah.
What is the streaming service that you found that's
Amazon.
the best? Amazon? Okay.
There's also an entire there is a network you can pay for, an independent, that has nothing but documentaries, if that's your cup of tea. Like if you just want to see documentaries on almost anything. Well, you know how I love reading stories about, well, two subjects primarily, but anything to do with Rome, ancient Greece, any of those kinds of things. I love watching all those things. But then also, I'm big on basically any kind of change, finds that change what we thought we knew about the evolution of human beings. So anything like that, I am locked in. And we're forever finding things like that. You're like, oh, look at that. Turns out Vikings were here way before we realized. All that kind of stuff I'm fascinated by. So I'll always go down that road. But a lot of the independent documentaries that have been done on archaeology and things like that, there's some good ones. I'm also a big music doc guy, so any kind of great music docs, and there's a ton of them on Amazon. So there you go. I'm glad you asked, buddy. I'm going to come in here loaded for bear soon enough. So when we were talking about the possibility of a last-ditch effort, a lifeline for the ACC or the Pac-12, a bunch of people in the chat kind of brought up that they'd seen this loose agreement. We were kind of joking about that because that was what the alliance was, and we had fun with it. But something that I didn't bring up, and it gets me thinking about big picture college football stuff again, and some of what we feel like we're losing. Not all things are negative, obviously. If this ends up growing into two largely engineered television divisions, ESPN and Fox, if you will, like we've talked about, right? Even if it turns into something like that, right? Where you have two 24-team leagues, right? Obviously, you're going to be the sights and sounds and places and locations that you're going to be able to go are going to change, and that always excites us. And I started thinking about what was being proposed, allegedly, loosely. And again, I don't know how much this is accurate. And I'm not saying the reporters are doing a job that is beneath them, but rather they're reporting what they're hearing. And a lot of that is speculation right now. But when you do that, when you engage in that, so I was talking about, well, will Notre Dame join the ACC? Probably not. ESPN would like them to. They'll push for it. But Notre Dame's going to say no. And if they join anywhere, they're probably going to join the Big Ten. Now, when you get beyond that and you say, okay, well, does the ACC and the Pac-12 in a desperation effort, do they do something like, okay, let's join forces, like the Big 12 is trying to get the Pac-12 to do now? Say the ACC and the Pac-12 did it, and you merged your operations, and you presented a media package where you have separate, say, 10-team divisions, the Atlantic and the Pacific, right? So there you go. You have the Pac-12 over there on the West Coast, ACC East Coast, right? You got that. And then, listen, so people are going to get told to have a good day. At that point, you're going to have to tell Boston College and others, Wake, Syracuse, who we mention all the time, hey, it's been real. Have a good one. Maybe you guys can go back together and formulate the now defunct Big East. Maybe you guys can do that because we're moving on. But now all of a sudden, here we are. We've got a conference that features Oregon and Washington and Clemson and North Carolina and Florida State. And maybe at the end of the year, of course, you have a championships game, right? So the winner of the Pac versus the winner of the ACC East or whatever, they meet up. But you do have a situation like you currently have with the divisions in which you're rotating, like we just talked about them getting rid of divisions, right? So now let's say you have, at least a couple of games every year where FSU is playing Oregon at Autzen Stadium. That would be really cool. Washington comes to town, or they take on Miami or Clemson or whatever. And you start when you do that, that again, it gets back to that fandom that you feel and the uniqueness, the regionality of that sport and the different traditions and passions and histories of those teams and the fan bases that are passionate because they're largely comprised of people either from that city or went to that university. So it's more than laundry. And you have a sense of, hey, we're kind of commingling in a way we never did. This could be really fun. Yeah, I did that. I don't think it's going to happen, but it is a fun exercise. It is one that you can embrace and kind of be like, oh, this is cool. Like, what if? Now, you can't envision, and you don't want to envision, like just as I say that Wake and Syracuse and Boston College are going to have to be told to have a good day, I'm sure the Pac-12 in a scenario like this, if they were to join forces, would tell Washington State to have a good day. I don't know. Oregon State might be told to have a good day. I don't, you know, we can go through these teams and decide who you're going to tell to have a good day. Arizona. I mean, who are we kidding? Come on now. You had Gronk and Teddy Bruschi. That's it. That's all. It's the Jeff Cameron Show. Come back, wrap it up momentarily. 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Unpredictable and can cause issues around your home. Weston Trawick provides commercial, residential, and industrial electrical wiring services, yearly inspections on fire alarms, portable generator sales, and so much more. With 24/7 emergency service and repair, Weston Trawick will be your calm in the storm. Give them a call at 514-0003. Weston Trawick. Professional electrical services day or night. Visit online at westontrawick.com.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit beefy, or even with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Affordable term life insurance is out there. Call Term Provider and speak with Big Lou at 800-481-1458. 800-481-1458 or visit biglou.com. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too.
Have you wanted to speak a new language but thought it'd be too difficult or take too much time? Then try Babbel. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel teaches you conversations that you will actually use. With 14 languages and lesson topics like travel, business, relationships, and more, you'll learn what matters most to you. Babbel. Language for life. Learn a new language with ease. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com.
Every great construction project, whether it's a new addition or renovation, starts with a plan. At T-Spark, we are excited when our clients contact us to assist with that plan. Through our team of architects, draftsmen, engineers, we can help you with your project's planning and design, potentially saving costs in the long run. Whether you have a residential or commercial project, we look forward to working with you. Call us today or visit us at tsparkconstruction.com. License number CGC 1525336.
Crawfordville Auto and Tire, Crawfordville Auto and Tire. Oh, hey there. I was just singing the praises of Crawfordville Auto and Tire. They do just about everything. Complete engine rebuilds, brakes, shocks, tires, oil change, you name it, they do it. And they offer a 12-month, 12,000-mile warranty on all parts and labor. Most of the time, they can service your car the same day and offer towing to help you get to the shop. Now that's something to sing about. Open weekdays from 7:30 in the morning until 6 at night. Crawfordville Auto Repair and Tires.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics.
Friends at T-Spark Enterprises, Roofing and Construction. They hire employees. They value the immense benefits that come with having a trusted, reliable, and highly trained crew that can be held to high standards. T-Spark is known for those standards. Experts in their craft, pride in their work. It's the T-Spark difference. Give them a call today, 766-1340. Get a free quote online at tsparkconstruction.com. tsparkconstruction.com. That'd be tough to be up there on the roof in the dead of summer, man. Woo! Woo! Glad they're doing it. Not me, pal. I fell into the rhythm. We're about to do probables. I fell into the rhythm of baseball over the long holiday. And I watched a ton of games. I think it's the first time in a while that I had several hours to myself, uninterrupted. Work was not calling. My kids are out of town visiting my dad, and I just had me and baseball. And I want to tell you, that was beautiful. I just got into the rhythm of baseball, the flow of baseball, just the pacing that you love. Now, it's even better when you're there and you can get into that because you're not interrupted by commercials. Maybe loud music between innings, but whatever. But just commercials, right? But even then, just the pacing of that game, I was like, oh, man, this is so free of distraction. It makes you realize how peppered with distraction you are. Like if you let yourself fall into the rhythm, you commit yourself 3 hours, 3.5 hours, whatever it might be, not just glancing at a game, but watching the way each pitch is crafted to each batter and why, the shifts, whatever it might be. The pace at some point, somewhere around the third inning, you're kind of like, oh, I'm in this. Especially if it's a well-pitched game. Very well-pitched game. 9-7, it's not quite the same thing. 2-1 in the fourth. Some great defensive play, solid pitching. There's a rhythm to it. Just saying, if you haven't done it in a while, it might be something for you to venture down the road and do. Did it last night a little bit with my Pirates beating the Yankees' ass. Probables fired up, baby.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
Did I mention the Pirates beat the Yankees' ass last night? Detroit 5, Cleveland 2. That game is in the sixth inning. Shane Bieber and Michael Pineda. Twins, White Sox. That game tied at 1 in the third. Joe Ryan, Lance Lynn. They're just underway between the Cubs and the Brewers. Adrian Sampson and Corbin Burns. No score there. Blue Jays, A's. Jose Barrios, James Capielli. Mets, Reds, David Peterson, Graham Ashcroft, Angels, Marlins, Shohei Ohtani, Trevor Rogers. Have you seen the run that Sandy Alcantara's on right now for the Marlins?
No, I haven't.
Go look at his numbers over his last 10 starts. They're historically dominant. Rangers, Orioles, Glenn Otto. Hey, I'm Glenn Otto. Welcome to Glenn Otto. Spencer Watkins. Nationals, Phillies, Josiah Gray, Aaron Nola. Okay. Yanks, Buccos, Luis Severino, Mitch Keller, you sorry ass. Get it together, Mitch. Let's go. Rays, Red Sox, Corey Kluber, Brian Bello. Cardinals, Braves, Miles Mikolas. Oh!
Not today. I don't have it today.
You don't have it? Max Fried. Royals, Astros, Brad Keller, Christian Javier. Giants, D-backs, Alex Cobb, Merrill Kelly. Rockies, Dodgers, Jose Urena. Mitch White. So look at those that shall reside on the bump. I don't think it's the first time, but I would tell you those Pompeians did die a ghastly death. A ghastly death. And I have to say, it never ceases to interest me or amaze me. They keep continuing to uncover things, buddy. More they do. They continue to find even more in the way of walls and floors and markets. I've never been to the site there at Pompeii, and I desperately want to go. And so we're planning a trip, or I'm planning a trip. And for everybody, the family's going to go. I'm not leaving them behind. But I've been planning and thinking and talking to people who have been and all that. And then I do my own, because I'm fascinated by this stuff, and I do my own research, and I start reading more and more and more. And you go down that rabbit hole, and man, I can't believe the amount of things that they have uncovered in just the last 5 years. That site has expanded greatly. So I'm glad I waited. They're coming up with all kinds of new things. Oh, we found a new floor to this house. This must have been a rich citizen who had means to do this, this, and this. And then the next thing you know, they uncover another room in that particular place. And also a guy holding his dog they just uncovered. Like, yeah, you're like, oh, that poor dog. It's funny. Isn't that the funny? That's terrible. That's the first thing I think of. Because, it's been so long. As they say, once you get beyond a couple hundred years, time kind of flattens out. You really can't wrap your mind around somebody who died 3,000 years ago, 4,000 years ago, something like that. You're just like, yeah. But you're more fascinated. You're fascinated. But then you see the dog being held by the guy, and you're like, oh, that poor dog. You don't even care about that guy. Even thousands of year old dogs, you're like, damn it, the dog died. You should have let him run. Go. But they're all, I think about every time I see it, it's crazy how trapped in that fear they are. They're stuck. It's the guy's got his hands up. It's the worst. That moment of realization, like I just want to stand there and look at that. I'm so fascinated down deep. Like just, ooh, look at that guy. He was reaching for the stairwell. That guy was reaching for whatever. His staff. As one would be in those times. I'm reaching for the staff. I do that. I watch, and she's like, you've seen 45 specials on Pompeii. You're watching another one. They just made this one. There's probably new evidence. They found people who got far enough away. They almost made it, but they're on the outskirts of death. They're right on the edge, almost made it. And a rock hit him in the back of the head. Did you see that one? That's true. They found a guy who got hit in the head with a rock. The rock was still embedded in his skull. You want to talk about unlucky. Not that all those other people who didn't have the gases overwhelm him weren't unlucky. They were very unlucky. But this guy here, he thought, I've got it. I'm going to make it.
I would be so pissed.
If you had time. If it didn't knock you out, but it mortally wounded you to the point, I mean, you're going to die, so you're just laying there like, man, I made it, and a freaking stray rock caught me. It's a toughie. It's a toughie. Probably should have heeded the warnings, of which Mother Nature gave them several. They now know that, too. Like, months leading up to it, it's gurgling. It's letting you know it's time, and it didn't happen. All right. More tomorrow. Obviously, this has been fun. I'm addressing that unease that we all feel. Who knows? Maybe by tomorrow, we have new pertinent information as to realignment and Florida State's lot and all this and where we're all headed. Good work out of you, Director Matthew. I hope you feel better. Be well, everybody. Thanks for watching on Warchant TV. Like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks for listening on 93.3 Real Talk Radio, where we'll be back with you again tomorrow. Peace.